Hello everyone and welcome to British Esports Student Champs Nationals. It's been a hot second, but we are more than happy to be joining you today for some Valorant action. Connie here, and alongside me of course today is going to be Daniel. Special matches lined up for you today, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, just our first game overall, it's going to be interesting. You know, we've seen these teams play in previous years. We know the ability that they have, especially with the Tigers being the reigning champions of the inaugural season of this Valorant within this tournament.
Yeah, I know, and Cypher's last year as well had a fantastic run, so there's lots of history really to draw back to. But today's game, again, we're going to have NSCG combined and SUC Gladiators. Bit of a tongue twister, but this is sort of a local derby, don't you think? Only 30 miles apart for these two colleges.
Yeah, and this is the first game after the winter break for the North, for both teams. Obviously, with this game is the North split, so we get to see the North first, and then afterward in Game 2 we'll jump to the South. Which really shows us a potential for a diversity between the two regions, and then on top of that it's the first Swiss game back as well. So just briefly going into the format, Connie, we have immediately after coming back from winter, the teams go right back into a Swiss stage until the end of February, and then after that, start of March, they go into their groups.
And you feel like these teams prepare at least quite a lot for these events coming up now, because with most Swiss stages you tend to focus a lot on the games ahead rather than going in unprepared, because it's the worst thing you could do when you start off on a weaker foot Swiss stage beginning. You don't really have the footing to then go on and have a good seed or placement going into playoffs, for example. So how do you think these teams right now are handling the pressure going into today, more or less as well, with the stakes online here, you know, a little personal pride at stake? Do you think they're looking towards?
I definitely think that the NSCG are definitely going to be a lot more confident compared to their opponent. Like I mentioned, they have the pedigree in terms of their support system within the education centre, and so they know how well they can play, especially since their record so far already is they're 4-2. You know, only losing 2 games during last split. Compared to Shrewsbury colleges, who are unfortunately the opposite. They're 2-4, you know.
Yeah, and that's quite startling as well. Just in terms of like the expected match today for the first game back after a long extended break. Now, again, the sort of relevance to this is going to be key to note. I mean, 4 weeks, a lot can change in a Valorant team, especially with these habits being broken and new ones being made. Whether they're good or bad, we'll have to see today on the map. But you know what, in terms of the sort of experience here, you know, when it comes to teams that have a positive record, you do tend to hold a candle towards them, expect them to go on and continue their sort of dominant spree, but in reality, you know, anything can happen. I want to reaffirm the point here, that despite, you know, 2-4 for SCG Gladiators, you got to give them some props and at least some idea for them to go back to the drawing board and regroup new ideas.
Yeah, and in that winter split, the break between these two splits even, the rules of this tournament being the Nationals League, they're allowed to make 1 change per team. So if any teams today have made a change, particularly with the Gladiators, it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic has changed, and going forward, if that change was for better or worse.
Now, I want to talk to you as well, Daniel, about some macro changes in Valorant. The map pool, drastically different now from last year, as we are ending near of January. February's tomorrow, by the way. We're basically playing a brand new game. So we're looking into, I believe, Haven's Out, which, you know, makes a lot of logical sense. But the other 2 maps, I mean, tell me a bit more what's going on there.
Yeah, so the players will be playing on the live client, which means that Haven's out, as you mentioned, and Icebox is back with very few changes. Obviously, the biggest one being mid is now completely overhauled. There's a window that you can lurk in through tube to be able to get access for further luck, or just there's a hold the position and shoot into CT type thing for rotates. But I really like the B main change, as much as it's not that like people probably at this level won't see it as nearly as impactful of a change. It does kind of change the dynamic of defending. If you're wanting to go for an immediate push, you have to have like a chamber TP. Like, it might punish a jet more often than not now, because your dash, yes, it can still get you out, but you can be punished a lot more for that. And then the other change to the map pool is Lotus. Lotus is just reworked entirely. There's more 50-50 angles, there's more corners for you to rat in if you're a defender, and they've just tried to overall make the sites better for defense to play on, and they've removed an orb, so it's gone from a 3 to a 2 site orb.
Fascinating. I think it's only fair enough, Daniel, that now we actually get a chance to look into the rosters today and the teams coming up. Now, in terms of it all, we are going to have NSCG combined running Goddid, Cura, Overflow, Kidder, and ISF. Now, very much an interesting lineup, to be fair. When it comes to, again, we talked about the record, them being 4-2. It's going to be interesting as well about the compositions in these new map updates. You mentioned as well the Op and the Duelist. Maybe a chance they will have to really shine through here.
Yeah, and I believe we're going into a deep dive of this team as well now, Connie. Just like we mentioned their record, we get to see now what teams they played and how the map scores went. So obviously in their second week they had a bye, so that's just an immediate 13-0 win. But even with all of the other wins, aside from the 2 losses that they had, the wins that they've been having have been pretty dominant, wouldn't you say? They won 13-1, and then the other 2 are like they're only getting 6 or 7 rounds each.
I feel like as well, in a 3-month window, there's a lot of information to be told in terms of their development and progression as a team. Yes, they lost on the opening day to CRC Inferno, but you know, we can forgive and forget that. You feel like almost on the first day of the entire tournament that the results there are going to be 50-50. Teams cause upsets regardless, but the consistency then to win 4 matches and only drops to the NCL Vikings in an 11-13 faction, very, very impressive.
Yeah, and I believe we have just the next team ready available, because we are just ready almost to get into game, Connie. So with CSG Gladiators, they have Lampshade, Ali, Chunbi, Ducky, and Forgotten, with then 2 substitutes available if they need. But with this being a best of 1, that won't come into effect until later on in this tournament.
Yeah, but very impressive to see the roster depth being, you know, so large for SCG Gladiators. They've got almost a second team here in reality. So, you know, lots of options to pull apart here. Very much a modular setup for this team. Deep diving into their record, again, they are coming here as underdogs. In reality here, 2 wins to 4, one of which was a bye. So, realistically speaking, they're coming through a large rebuild phase here, it almost feels like, Daniel.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the game that you want to be looking at for this team. If it goes better than what you expect, or even if you win this, then you're definitely going to be really happy. And from that, you can use the VOD that you're going to be getting to either do an analysis of the gameplay to then be able to further improve going forward. Obviously, this is the first week, but who knows, with that change that they might have made during that winter split break, that it might make a big difference.
And that difference is going to be really measured today, you know, because in terms of practice and effort being put in over the past few weeks to get ready for this matchup, you know, this could make or break for them in realistically how their team's going to function, you know, down the line here. Because we're still midway through the season, we're just approaching the end of January, so we've got at least a handful more games to play and really try and improve their record, per se.
Yeah, exactly that. And I believe just as we are getting some news, we should be ready to go into the game in like right now. Like in a minute. So
really? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So we've wrapped through this pre-show very quickly, Connie.
I know, it's almost like, you know, we've sort of like just casually gone over everything, you know, without really, you know, going into too much about what took from the teams today. In reality, again, Veto's, we talked about it in the pre-show. We talked exactly about how it's going to be a very different look for teams today and how their map selection is going to be very different from, of course, last year. But still, you know, exciting prospects nonetheless.
Yeah, and we've just been told in our ears that one of those new maps that we were talking about is going to be the map that's being played. We're going to Icebox, Connie.
Okay, interesting. Icebox, we haven't really seen that. I mean, again, when it comes to the latter portion of 2023, whilst it was getting reworked, I mean, it was a very hit or miss map. I mean, you could win or lose on it, and teams only really picked it in confidence because of their sort of systems they have in place to fry in that map and really get kills on the board. That's where it, you know, really shined through. But now we're seeing it in this current sort of meta phase and patch. You mentioned it before again. Very exciting to see how it will play out now. Probably a lot differently as well, but still very controller heavy for the most part.
Yeah, I definitely think as much as there is changes to this map, that the sites will play fairly similarly, and just agent select already, there's a harbour already locked, Connie. As much as this map toward its latter stage of being in the map pool before its rework, you were seeing teams getting used to or preparing for getting comfortable on that Viper and that harbour, but it looks as if, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to get from the side of, from the defending team, having that Viper, having that harbour Sky also locked in. That's another agent that we've seen changed in this patch. Having her birds reduced in capacity, so they no longer recharge. Instead, you only get the 2, and then from there, you have to value them a lot differently. They no longer recharge. You can't get them back later on in the round. So you have to think more about when you're going to use them and how you're going to use them. Are you going to throw one immediately at the start of the round for info anymore? Because if you do, well, then you only have one left for the rest of the game. And if you're the only flash, then that's really going to punish the team.
Oh yeah, that's huge as well. We talk about the initiators and we talk about this sort of composition coming in here. One thing to mention as well is the sides starting off here in the break-offs we're going to see. Now, it is important to note that SCG Gladiators are going to be defending for the first portion of this map, with NSCG attacking to get the spike down straight away. Now, in terms of the sort of splits here and the agents, you mentioned as well just how it looks different. Almost feels like there's no sort of competition here between these two teams.
Yeah, but just with these team comps overall, like you have from the side of the attackers that they have the standard comp almost, you know, as much as they don't necessarily have a Killjoy, because obviously she was another agent that got changed. They do have that Sage, they have the staple of that Viper being a controller. If you're only going to be running single controller, you're most likely going to want to do that. But there's just an immediate brawl on this A site, Connie. There's just all players here from both teams.
Yeah, and absolutely is rewarded SCGV straight away. You know, absolutely no problem whatsoever. 4 down in the feed, 80 seconds left, and Kida has to try and work something, and only with Molotov as well. So at this point now, you're just sort of shifting around playing audio cues. Yes, time's on your side, but there's just such isolation between the site and SCGV. It's not going to be a clear round. And despite the peak, Kida just about gets a kill off onto Lampshade. 1v3, 55 seconds between Kida and the next engagement.
Yeah, and with 10 HP left, there's not much that can be done unless some absolute heroics happen and Kida manages to find all 3. But the team, they're playing really close together. Yep, as soon as one player peaks, there were 2 players there to be able to get the refrag. That will be the round falling. And first round on the board, Connie.
Yeah, impressive so far. So tell me right again, after pistol round, we're now heading into what looks to be some developments in the economy, right? We're looking into risky buys and forced buys, but ultimately, again, a strong start for SGV.
Yeah, and in fact, they're opting to do as best buy as they possibly can. Obviously, bringing that Outlaw in, that's another thing that got changed in this patch that we'll probably talk about later, purely because of how impactful it can be on a round like this, where you know that your opponents are going to have very little health, hardly any full chance at full shield. So that one bullet of 140 damage to the body will just one-shot them, and that would then be the initial pick. First blood picked right up. Team now of NSCG just rushing it down through. The Vandals are in hands, but unfortunately will fall. And so once again, as much as the SCG have the advantage here, they're not being able to convert nearly as much as the players fall. But Vandals are coming in for the retake as soon as the spike gets planted.
Now, Toxic Screen can be recharged as well, and it's almost a frontal assault here from the likes of SCG. So the spike goes down. Again, that Toxic Screen will go up. So will the Harbour Wall as well. So they can aggress forward now with no issues of sound cue. Still though, Lampshade here again, getting quite aggressive. Duke gets faded out, but Kira finds the kill. Now a 2v4 situation. Spike still taken away, and despite all these kills going in favor of NSCG, 3 Monster has got no effort or room to work with here. A wonderful thrifty, 1-1 in the score. NSCG bring it back a little bit.
Yeah, a round that you typically don't expect to be flipped from the side of the attackers. Obviously, when you win that first pistol round, like what we saw, the side of SCG had a heavy buy into that round 2, which then, because they stacked, they had less players on the site that NSCG decided to push, a rifle was handed over to them pretty quickly, and from that they managed to snowball that advantage that they then got, that one weapon, into winning the round. And all of a sudden now, yeah, you have a player on your team buying up, so they're not going to have much economy for the next round if they die, but all of those guns that the side of SCG bought up have just been converted over to NSCG, and all of a sudden now your economy is broke, so you're forced onto a lesser buy.
Some common themes here already from both teams. Instantly push aside, walls go up. You know, there's no cover, but it does buy a lot of time here to get a spike down early. And now it's an instant adjustment coming in from SCG as they cross through the middle. First angles get caught off. Info finds first blood drawn. A few more shots. Spam sprays through the wall. Codex onto nothing. still player advantage going their way as Kira adds to the tally and gets a second on the board just to reinforce the value. Make it free. That is beautiful from Kira.
Yeah, last player noted over toward Kitchen. The position has been discovered, and that will be 4. Kira making the round, the win for NSCG, getting 4 on the board. And again, like going back to team comp here, Connie, I really like the Sage. As I mentioned, the sites didn't really get changed much. There was the change in B main, which affects a few of the starting angles. But other than that, it meant that Sage, that we saw in the compositions of a lot of teams beforehand, is now still should be a mainstay, because you can just, especially when you're going B, throw that horizontal wall, get a safe plant with next to no potential for any kill, because you're not going to get pushed. But the economy is really poor for SCG here. They have half shield rifles. They have one player in particular having a rifle of a Vandal in particular of no armor on. So it's a risky buy. But if this investment can be converted, can turn out to be a victory for their team, first kill unfortunately not going their way, then it means then that they should be able to potentially bring something back. But Kirua is going to say no and trying to hold that Viper now dead. That's going to be awful for the retake.
Spike is down though. Like you said, numbers go the way of NSCG. And Kira, who's already started off so hot into this game, is just playing wall to walls, and it's very clever. You can't really force numbers, but you don't want to risk losing lives. Prowler comes in, shots go through, a simple trade either way. Still an advantage going in favor of NSCG. Utilities get thrown all around the shot now. A harbor wall comes in, Kira just aims and domes the head of Sabibi. Now, swinging it through the peak. Cherry Monster can only get another trade off, and the mathematics do not favor the likes of SCG. We are now going to go into a 3-1, and economy, like you said, still firmly in control of NSCG.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, this now forces SCG onto what will be an awkward buy. They're going to probably not, they don't want to invest into this, but they know that there was the potential of an Outlaw in play. So as much as they probably want to be buying full shield, they're not going to. Thankfully not, because the Outlaw is gone. The Vandal was handed over, and it looks like Karua is going to be playing for knives, having not bought a gun, which is perfect. And again, we're just seeing a repeat of this same B hit, the site that has the weaker players. So it should be easily exploitable. Util being used just to clear out angles to get any information, potentially punish players, but no one's there. All the players of SCG have backed off. They're wanting to play numbers, they're wanting to play a 5-person retake, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do. But with this aggressive positioning from the players on SCG, it's gonna cause falls and kills to come their way.
Same old story as last round. Numbers in favor of NSCG. First ones are drawn. And look at this right now. They just have a wonderful switch from aggression straight to passiveness. It rewards them with clean trades. Spike Ducky's sprays and at least a kill that can't be squeaked out just in time for Kidder. Spike is still to be dealt with. But no, Overflow gets the job done. 4-1 to count it off with. And so far as we enter into round 6, I think really has been firm in control Valorant thus far for NSCG.
Yeah, and just looking at the scoreboards there, Crew are at the top, being 11-3, Connie, just after 5 rounds. This is definitely the start that you want to be seeing from your duelist player. You want them to be active, you want them to be searching for those kills, and that's exactly what they've been doing. As much as, yeah, they have died, when in situations where they've fallen, it's either resulted in the round losing or just an immediate trade from their team, which is exactly the macro that we want to be seeing here.
Look as well at the ultimates. We draw to this conversation so much, but right now SCG have got plenty to work with here. You know, loads on the board really to try and get themselves back in this game at the expense of those 3 rounds there. But realistically speaking, they got more of a mountain to climb in terms of economy, and I wonder what the conversations leading towards this timeout must have been and how they're going to adjust now forward against NSCG.
Yeah, perfect place to take a timeout for them, as it means now that you have the economy to buy, so you want to communicate with each other, you want to make a coherent game plan for this one defensive round in hopes that if you do end up winning it, that you can use that momentum, because as much as NSCG will still have economy to buy the round after, it will be able to bolster your team morale to be able to improve over the rest of this first half. But of course, like you mentioned, they have 3 ults online, so in that timeout they were probably talking about what they're going to do to win the round. Are they going to commit all 3? Are they only going to commit 1? The Seekers being a powerful ult just to gain info. You definitely want your Sky player to be alive and be able to use it later on.
really interesting points there, Daniel. Especially the Sky, because we just saw a flash right there instantly off the feed. So that there cancels the push onto A for NSCG. But now on board with Kidder here again. Spike first in the line for the marching band. That is going to attack B. A few long-range angles here again being played, but does get spotted. Now sort of toys around here with the crossfires. Spam shots through the wall. Don't touch to BB, but a Prowler there catches players off guard. Kirito finds the first blood drawn.
Yeah, ball goes up. This same cookie cutter play, but Crew is still hunting. Gets the second on the round. Notes a potential third and hopes that one is towards CT. Player now noted. Swinging out. Unfortunately, can't get the kill. Does do a big chunk of damage though, but all of this was a ruse, Connie. All of the players from the side of NSCG have rotated over toward A. As much as Ducky gets a punish onto Volt in toward mid from a little bit of an over-aggression, maybe a time for a lurk play that got caught out, it means though that the numbers are 3 versus 3.
Still, it's going to be down to the swings and the timings that come off, and right now Overflow there gets another on the board. Just to boot as well, NSCG have got 2 ultimates online. Overflow again, just playing off of the drone, and Ali there has been slowed and tagged. That is not a good spot you want to be in, as there comes the team kill. Full control of the site. Lampshade playing on that long flank we saw at the start. Still though, just trying to get every angle cleared. Opting now to save, I think that definitely is a wise choice here, Daniel.
Yeah, breaking the angles though while trying to do so. Just ending up playing in the spawn, trying to hold angles here. You definitely don't want to lose that rifle. And so, yeah, smart play here. It means that you have guaranteed at least 1 rifle because your economy, once again, isn't going to be the greatest. You're probably going to have not the best buy at all here. Yeah, you see players forcing up on to weaponry, but they do have the ability to have a buy round here thanks to that new gun of that outlaw. Yes, it means that it's going to be a little bit more awkward, but they committed 2 ults there, Connie. They used the Seekers and they used the Yoru ultimate, so it meant that now they're, as much as they had the ult economy in their favor, they only have that harbor ult, which is a great piece of utility for retake.
So it will be, but again, players are spotted. We're now just playing around information, and look at this from SCGV. Instant reaction again to the mid push that's going on. There's no splits here, as Overflow finds the first blood drawn. And now we're starting to see Harbor being really activated here. Only can't really tag any players on, as now we're just seeing the aggressive push from NSCG just result in even more kills, even more dominance across. And despite the wall going there, Kid knew exactly what was going on, knew the kills lined up, and Ducky just about gets away with a few tags on to NSCG.
Yeah, as much as a potential hope for another save is going to come through, I don't think NSCG are going to let that happen. Throwing the classic out to try bait as a flash, but now here comes the hunt. Karua with another on the round, just getting all of those kills, being that tip of the spear for NSCG, resulting in such a competent victory in these first 7 rounds. 6-1 already now, and it means that these teams, like we're seeing, as much as Karua's being the spearhead going in first, Overflow being that sage, typically you have that role be played by a passive player that does their job, that plants the spike, but they're 10-4, Connie. They're being the second top frag in this lobby for their team.
And as well as that, not even the main entry. Karua's been going in first most of the times. So really, they are just sort of 2v5ing the majority of the gunfights here against SCG. Still, first round goes off here. Toxic screen is laid out across B. And look at the placement as well. Exactly in front of SCGV's hold. Look at this right here. Fade. Ultimate comes online. Crudo still gets first bloods. BB there has got enough information tagged up. And still, look at the aggression we're seeing here from the likes of NSCG. They're pushing through every single player. Although 2 there in the feed eliminate players under pressure. Now we're seeing it at least equaled out again. And like the swing and the miss. That right there is NSCG coming back down from 2v4 to now in a 1v2, where realistically Lampshade here still get defused in 2 kills.
1 enemy remaining.
Wonderful kill there. Right, so key. Oh, Overflow. That's what you want to have right there. That's the injection of confidence you need. A self-res and a kill in the end. So risky, but well deserved from NSCG.
Yeah, and that was a great play from Overflow. We were talking about them just before that round. As soon as the Nightfall got used, they didn't care that they were deafened. They just kept pushing in towards CT, used the Sage Wall, and got on top of that building in towards CT, which resulted in them getting another kill. And once they got that kill, it meant that they had the res online that was used perfectly to be able to bait out the swing from Lampshade, which resulted in that round winning kill. Coming now into what is the next round, 2 ults online. The first kill already gone.
That's Kidder on the board. Very rare first blood, but still a wonderful conversion. As again, the aggression becoming a trademark now for NSCG is always going to be a key factor. And look at the way they take these routes. They're pathing so high key. Maybe there gets traded. 2 more in the back. Still full control of the site, so that aggression there was rewarded in a post-plan situation. But look at the angles that SCG are collapsing onto NSCG. A tongue twister that will now reward potentially in some confusion. Even on the map, this pit is just so damning. And look at the spike placement as well. On top of the site. It's not clean, but Sabibi gets 4 this round. And now back into the final kill. 5 for the ace.
Yeah, Sabibi managing to get an ace. The defuse will end up coming through or being given to Ali. And as much as that Viper's Pit being used in toward Kitchen, I thought it was almost a round that was under lock and key. You know, you see such a such a oppressive Viper ultimate like that, you don't ever think that they'll be able to kill that Viper. But and I get why they dropped, because it meant that, okay, yeah, they're probably going to expect me in toward Kitchen. I can be spammed down the hallway. I can be spammed top site. Let me drop down. But that decision ended up resulting in that in the death of Kidder and the pit foul. And once the pit foul, it was almost as if the tables had been turned and the advantage was back in favor of the defense of SCG.
And that's what you want to see right now. This stage again, SCG can still, you know, do something. They've got a lot to work with here. I mean, when it comes to flipping the halves around, it's only 3 rounds away. But the variety in which NSCG attack the sites, it's always 5 players at once. So it's just overwhelming the numbers straight away on SCG's side. So Shrewsbury haven't really got much of a good look from the first 10 seconds. But you know, if they can slow the pacing down just a little bit and buy more time to get the angle set up, NSCG can't attack as frequently as they like. Even here as well, where you're seeing the high-low setups come into play here. There's a constant peeker here in the side of Sabibi, just watching over as shots get tagged, pressure's being read, numbers fly onto sight, they have to give it up, and it's just great plays all around.
Yeah, and with the Null command being used, they definitely know that the hit is coming in toward this A site now. Audio would have been heard for that spike, but it doesn't really matter because Garua's gone aggressive. Sabibi first to fall, make that 2 now with Ducky, and that's exactly what is going to be happening. 3v3, make that 3v2, Connie.
Always a slow pacing. Big shift here for both teams. And even so, Joe Monster has got a lot to work with here from the angle. And the ultimates as well, now Viper's Pit's coming into play. Really hard for defenders now to get any sort of information across the board. But they know the entry point now. They know the sort of pressure and stack that they're dealing with here. Volt now, a couple adjustments, a couple audio cues, gets rid of the planter. Monster just about eliminates one more, but Dark in a 1v1. Can't convert the kill. Lampshade. Is there enough time on the spike? You think so? You think so? In reality, it's only gonna just not get the round. The clutch is there. And that is gonna be a conversion. It's gonna be 2-8.
Yeah, not what you want to be seeing if you're a fan of the SCG.
It's rough, right?
Yeah, it's rough. Having won that fight with Lampshade on 1 HP, Connie, but then unfortunately losing the round to 0.2 seconds, it's not what you want to be seeing. But the last 2 rounds of this half, maybe if they win these next 2, as much as this will be a really broken buy for them, Bulldogs, Ghosts, and a Stinger, I believe, in hands, it means that they might be able to have a better chance when it swaps half and they go on to their attack.
First few trades are going to be called in. Contact is established, and the first one comes between Overflow and Ducky. Now, in the 4-4 post plan, there is a lot more comfortability for NSCG really to find their footing. And even so, they have converted every single round of the 4v4. Important, especially now when time's trickling away and SCG are just getting hunted out like foxes in a rat's tunnel.
Right here.
Yeah, just left up to Dark here now. But not even, just in this precarious position, falling back to regroup with his team. Noting the final player in toward Kitchen. 4-man face, 3 on the board for Dark. Another round in favor of NSCG. Last round of the half, Connie. There's ults on a galore for the side of the defense. They have 4 online. Yes, that Yori ultimate isn't nearly as effective, but it's great for getting info. You have the Nightfall, great again info, but also with that decay being added, needed. Seekers, again, another potential info ultimate, but can also just be used as audio, throwing off your opponents, and then that Harbor ult, once again, that reckoning for the retake. As much as he's playing mid to be able to go from site to site, it's a great piece of util that can definitely and should definitely be utilized to its fullest.
Ooh. Few shots from Chubby and a flash goes off on B. Look at the players now starting to slowly aggress and overload onto the B site. But still, despite all of the attacks, Spike's going to get plied. Karua, again, trademark off the rip. Entry, Spike down. Now playing for frags. Ducky can only swing so far. And that right there is the high-low, which is infamous now for the likes of NSCG. It results in more trades. It results in more chaos. Look at all these toxic screens as well. Crossing the map, creating such close quarters combat that neither team can really cope with. As now we do draw back to the 1v3. Lampshade is now just playing around. Again, it's a save you don't want to take. Making it 10-2.5 is not your ideal situation, but it's just going to happen regardless. Karua there isolates the final frag. We now are going to wipe away all the ultimates across the board. And we're going to have a brand new pistol round, but only so close to that match point here, Daniel.
Yeah, 3 rounds needed for the side of NSCG on their defense. If you want to be able to get your to close this game out as in a convincing fashion, this pistol is going to be the round that we need to look at. They're probably going to have some kind of set strat, as we're seeing on the minimap alone. 4 players stacked over towards A, having that Sage being that solo B player with the wall available. It means that they're potentially hoping to get closer up into that main to throw that wall, slow down the attack, and once that attack has been slowed, they know, okay, the wall's been broken, that they might be pushing here, or they're just going to immediately storm out of the gates.
Storm out of the H? Or even so, just march on through. Overflowed have the Sage wall. Already has information on players, but the aggression they're taking. Monster still gets the first blood drawn. And already, look at the aggression coming out of NSCG on defense. They pushed through all of A and they've got the flank initiated. Simple 1v1 trades and crossfires going across. Make it difficult. Make it a 2v3. But look at B. Despite the flank, site is going to be in control of SCG. They've already rewarded themselves. In a 2v3, you really want to plant Spike. But in this situation, it's more than doable, as now control's in their hands.
Yeah, and Kidder's just 1 HP here, so it's only going to be 1 bullet that's needed to take them down. Flash just get thrown, but there's the fight.
Oh, so fast as well. Simple trade. BB swings across onto 1, but no shots connect. Volt finds it. And that right there is going to be another round closer to the penultimate answer of this icebox.
Yeah, and making it 11, it means now that the side of SCG, Shrewsbury, they have a major decision to be made, Connie. Do they force up, and because they're not comfortable enough in letting NSCG get to 12, get that one away from match point, or do they have to just say, hey, it's fine, we have to win, we'll concede this one, potentially get some value, but that's not what they're choosing for there. We are going to see an all-out brawl here. All the players from SCG buying Spectre half shields, and the others, well, they have the economy to do whatever they want.
Yeah, half shields, a Vandal in the mix, but really those judges are going to be so key to those balls. Bottle gets the first blood, and Karua still trades it up, and yep, that push is going to be declined via the courtesy of NSCG. Lampshade, though, only sprays a couple, but looking at the positioning here and the pincer effect going on, it's got to be converted. Overflow, we know the answer to that. A shotgun's going to be a Spectre at close range 99% of the time.
Match point.
Yeah, and we're needing to see an absolute amazing strategy done by Shrewsbury here. As much as Lampshade has now woken up, managed to get value in these past few rounds with those kills, even on the other half, it hasn't been nearly as much as Karua or Overflow. 24-7 Karua is at. We are going in to round 15, Connie. That's a lot of kills for very few rounds.
It's also a free KD. And the rounds they've stayed alive as well from the first portion, I'm pretty sure that they just have consistently maintained that fragging power throughout the entirety of rounds 4 to 9. Really establishing that key difference. Overflow, they draw first blood. And now as Volt adds to the tally, it's just a firing squad in mid. And look at the trades. Already swept up there. Karua adds another to the tally. Oh, it's just an absolute demolition job here. Overflow with the right click sends Ducky to the other side, and then SCG win this best of one, extend the record to 5-2, whereas SCG still questioning the rebuild, still questioning a lot of things, but overall, dominance from NSCG that we established from the very start.
Yeah, and as much as it was a really strong win from the side of NSCG, there were still 2 rounds that got on the board. They converted that round that they probably shouldn't have in round 2, you know, where their opponents had rifles, and all of a sudden they just took them down with classics.
Yeah, that's going to be one for the record books, I think, in terms of just the sheer confidence and the rawness as well to go in at that pace and aggression. It's definitely a well thought out strat. It's definitely team cohesion there playing a huge factor, and just how long these guys have known each other. But realistically speaking, we're in the second portion of Swiss / round robin for British Esports. So we're looking at teams now having more confidence in the upfront situations, which NSCG, I believe, definitely showed right there.
Yeah, definitely the legacy of what was the winners 2 years ago. You know, like I mentioned, they have that staff in place to be able to nurture that talent. And as much as there probably won't be the same players on that team, it really does show that each year within this competition, they manage to get players who are at a high level of play that can just be able to be as dominant as what they were. We saw Overflow just being able to be greedy with their Sage Walls, being able to push in all the way into CT that really should have been punished, and then just immediately popping a wall up, and now you're dead.
Well, either way, it's a special game, and we finally have our answer to the first match of today's 2 series. Now, we're going to throw it to a very quick break, but don't go anywhere. After this one, it's going to be Guild, it's going to be Robin's special match for you. See you in a second. Hello everyone, welcome back. Been a while, but Series 2 for today, coming up for you now. Again, just to re-inform you, Connie here, Daniel as well. Now it's going to be Guild against Robins. So Dan, let's get right into the mixture of that. I mean, our last game as well, just to recap, was a 13-2. That, of course, was NCSG taking that one, and definitely a good showing for the Stoke natives.
Yeah, it's definitely how you want to start out the spring split. You know, you want that first early victories under your belt, be able to give your team that confidence, know that what you're doing is working, and then being from that going forward, building on top of it. And then eventually maybe when we get into the bracket stage later on in this whole schedule of the tournament, that they might go far and they might even get it to finals.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's way to tell, but it's not a bad reference point to start off with. Now, let's draw attention to Guild and Robins. So we talk about a little bit of context off camera. Of course, Guild Academy, or Guild Gen Z in this case, partner team based in London, and Robins in Bristol. So we're looking a bit further away here, either as a country almost, we're looking at far in terms of geography, but definitely records themselves for either team two very different stories.
Yeah, exactly. Both of these teams, like the two prior, they have a record. Sorry, excuse me. They have a very similar record to the players of the last game. You know, but I believe Guild have just are off a 4-game win streak. I think they're 4-2, whereas Robins, I believe they're 2-4 comparatively.
Yeah, I know. So numbers are flipped around either way, but we have to mention one thing as well. Guild, they are currently on a 4-win streak, so they had a really bad start back in October. Since then, haven't lost a game, so they are on a fairly good tear right now. But we have to mention as well these sort of time frames we're talking about now. I mean, it's been a while since the last games, and exactly a month more. So 5+ weeks, scrim times, developments and strats, coaching changes around there. I mean, they're all up in the air in terms of what we know. But for one thing's for sure, you don't go 4-0 without a good team behind you.
Yeah, exactly that. And like you mentioned, over that winter break, some teams might choose to relax because they're already confident, but then others would just, like you say, want to scrim. They want to keep on practicing, keep on top of their craft to be able to come back now, first week of spring Swiss, and win their first game out of the park immediately.
And these first games, to be fair, similar to October when we started things off, right? I mean, in terms of the sort of mental reset from a fixed period of time off to practice, which you just mentioned there. I mean, it's going to have the same sort of 50 outcomes where some teams are looking to upset. I mean, really, these top teams we're talking about, the ones that have got the consistency to have win streaks like Guild have, must maintain their training schedule, must maintain their composure in some sense.
Yeah, and with the backing of such a prestigious name in esports of Guild, yes, this is their academy team, but you would hope, you would expect them to make it deep within this tournament. You want their team to be the best that they possibly can, so that they can continue on with their win streak going forward. Like you mentioned, they probably within this break had time to be able to further refine, to be able to get those scrims in, and then that will only just help them even more going against future opponents. But today, they're going against Robins.
Yeah, and Robins, to be fair, although their record is not the most impressive thus far in this season of British esports, definitely not one we're going to overlook. I mean, in terms of their abilities in this game and, you know, what could happen, I mean, we're in a spot in the season where you could overhaul a team and go on an incredible tear. They're in a position where they have the motivation to do that, but whether they are going to actively, you know, have a good game against Guild, you know, we can't draw these foregone conclusions. We have to really look into the teams, and we have to look into exactly what Robins are made up of. You know, how good is their leader, how good is their coaching staff, and how much they practice, what are their current focus points in terms of training. You know, these things do matter.
Yeah, and that's something that we're probably going to be looking at throughout this game, of those key points. You know, we definitely want to be able to see how much impact all of it has, as I believe we are ready to go in to Agent Select now, Connie.
Yeah, impressive so far. I mean, listen, competitions for Ascent has always been the same sort of 5 agents, a few mixed ones in there, but we're seeing much more traditional sort of picks here from the defender side. But when it comes to the attackers, when it comes to, you know, these sort of more challenging components, I think a lot of time is going to be stalled, Daniel.
Yeah, and Ascent, like we say, it's a map that we see all too often when it comes to Valorant esports. It's a map that's so well played that players know how to play on it. So the teams, it should be easy for them to make plays, for them to be able to go through their book. But already locking is in 4 players for Robins on the defense, I believe. You have the KO, you have the Sova, the Killjoy, and the Jet. These are agents that you tend to see more. Sometimes you have a Sky over a KO. KO is only really used if you're expecting to be able a potential Cypher, which is exactly what has come from the side of Guild. They've locked in Moon on that Cypher.
Yeah, so far, a lot of responsibility on Moon, and that is just to coordinate these lanes of attack and even shove players out of their original sort of set strat. So they're defaulting more and taking bigger risks, but still exciting to see that we do have Robins playing, you know, your casual picks, you know, your set bread and butter composition, but Guild are spicing things up here just a little bit.
Yeah, they have that double duelist. It has they've sacrificed an initiator for that, but it means then that, especially since they're starting on the attack, that these are the rounds that they want to get under their belt. You know, having that double duelist, it means that you have explosivity. It means that you have extreme firepower, and both of them being sort of almost entry duelists. Yeah, you can throw the blaze up for the Phoenix, and especially when you have a Jet, it's not necessarily your main priority, but it means then that there's more adaptability within the team composition from Guild that they can play around with, that they can end up deciding, okay, this round instead of having a Cypher lurk or something, we might go for a 2-man play somewhere on the map while the rest of them go elsewhere, and we might fake a site, for example, with both our duelists because of how much value they can get from that.
Oh, so far again, 4 goes to 2, and look at the splits as well early on. I mean, Guild are just sort of flirting in spawn, deciding the A or B, and now as teams slowly start to aggress towards their chosen site, much more spread here from Robins. I mean, again, a 3-2 split, no mid control whatsoever, so they're sacrificing that pressure, but at the same time, they've got to debate, really, you know, what is the right amount of pressure we can apply through mid and get these flanks on.
Yeah, and with a trip from the side of Guild being placed in toward that B main and all of the players congregating over toward that B lobby, I believe that there's going to be a 4-man push into mid, smoke getting thrown on to that tree, being able to just get further position, push up if they need to. And yeah, exactly that. They're going for a slow potential B split here, and it's probably going to be read as the omen from the side of the Robins have already rotated over.
Yeah, look at this roll again. Q shot from the turret. And now as Jax is the first to gas into sight, looking at the way they've pinched it through, 2 exits but not covered. And look at this control. It's overwhelming. You're only going to see Zeptus drop first, and with 5v4, they've got full control of the spike, full control of the site, and look at Robins. They've got to try and entry them from the break as Innovas trades out to a 4v4.
Yeah, Spike did end up going down, but all 4 of the players from Guild are straggled over toward this site. So there's not going to be much that can be done unless they just win their duels, which is what we want to be seeing, you know. That's exactly what's going to happen as players coming back and forth, fighting together. Innovas has potentially something to say, but on 20 HP, there's not much that can be done.
Breakcore finishes the job. And there goes the first round. Pistols in the books. Now we look towards the next and following picks that both teams will look for in their weaponry.
Yeah, Breakcore opting to go for that Phantom, and AV having killed 3, I believe. Yeah, 3 on that round. Having the Vandal in hand. So we have 2 of the main prominent rifles, but then along with that, Jax has gone for a Guardian, another very lethal weapon with that 1 tap to the head is a 1 kill, or even 2 bullets to the body now, because their opponents won't have economy to buy shields. Instead, only 1 sheriff in the hands of of a player, unfortunately, and so that would mean that that's the only firepower they have, so they are going to have to play numbers, they are going to have to stack a site, and that's what they've done over toward A.
Yeah, but still, lots of feelers being put out on B, but really, they've just sort of gone for the 4-1 here. They've so relied on the Killjoy here on B just to get information tagged, so their rotation times are going to be staggered if they were to overload a site. But looking at it now, few shock darts go away. Yankee knows there's already a few players teetering on A. Don't really know positioning just yet. As look again. Yeah, Guild just picking a site.
Yeah, just that exactly. Like their strategy here is to play for the orbs. They want their Phoenix player to pick up as both orbs potentially and having howled it, but instead they're just opting for another, once again, mid pivot, a place where those rifles will have better range for kills, and they're just having the Jet, once again, like I mentioned, lurk in through main, try to get info. They know they should be able to hear that the turret is over toward log, so the regroup in toward main. Smokes are going down, dark cover out. There goes the dash, and yeah, B site should be almost ready as soon as the KJ falls, but there might be a play in towards CT here.
Oh, I know. Through the smoke. Yankee can only find one player. Few tagged up straight away, but the dash there is only enough just to fake out an audio cue as the spike drops. Maybe gets door closed on him, but swings around there. That is going to be more kills added to the tally. A 2v5 if they want to try and reclaim this one. Robins just swinging around. Throwing at your recons, throwing at your shock darts. As AV there just looks to tag, runs out of bullets, but Moon's there for the confirmed kill. Flawless round. And now as we look towards a bonus here, Daniel, Guild are just getting more and more comfortable on this B side.
Yeah, exactly that. As much as this is the bonus, they have that firepower. They have bought up a few, just one rifle, in fact, coming into this round, keeping the other 4 that they had. So they will be able to do a lot of damage here, Connie. And unfortunately, Bristol's buy wasn't the greatest last round. So they have 2 players in particular, maybe potentially even a third of Yankee on half shields. So again, that really speaks to how much easier it's going to be able to kill the players if they decide to not go for the one taps to the head. And yeah, once again, they're just pivoting in toward A, trying to play for information, try and maybe even do an A split with 2 players on both avenues.
Ooh, wonderful paranoia in the smoke, but just as AV ultimates, Yankee only gets a trade through as Innoverse claims more. 3v3. The aggression are coming in from Guild onto site. Kills are being rewarded in favor of that. Now as Zeppelin throws the drone out, look at this position as well, just tucked in the corner in Gardens. Finds a tag, knows exactly where Moon's going to be, and Moon can't arrest him. Throws down a case sword just to reinforce that escape. Door gets shot down. Jax. Oh, did Zepp see him? I don't know. Time's going down slowly. And they're still flirting with the spike here. But look at the spread from Robins. No one's near A. Closest one, of course, is only going to be Zepp's. As this spike goes down, we draw a bit more as AV takes care of one. As now we're seeing it. Look at this lurk. Jinwoo from top, peeking around. Spike is going to be very difficult to reclaim. Look at this lineup here. Look at these guns trailed of heaven. You can only afford to save at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely what is happening here. You're just wanting to keep that firepower. One rifle is better than everyone being forced onto an eco. And as much as it is currently in the hands of Jinwoo, it might be gifted to another player on their team, because you probably want your Killjoy to just be able to have that sight anchor. But they are just hunting for it. They don't want the rifle to be saved, and that's exactly what AV is going to stop from happening. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get as far away as intended. Jinwoo falling now. 3-0 on the board already for Guild, Connie. This isn't necessarily what you tend to expect within the first 3 rounds of the game.
Oh, I know, a 3-0, a bonus round 1 as well included in that, and 3 different entries. So 2 of those rounds were direct hits onto B. That last round there was flirting between either site. AV got the first point of contact from his ultimate.
Yeah, but again, just coming in now, spike in the hands of Breakcore, potentially hoping for another A push. They're just going to drone to get some info, try and potentially again play for that A orb that they've done in the past. This thing I noted from the side of the Omen. Yep, grabbing the orb on the Phoenix, meaning that now he is 1 orb closer, having just used his ultimate the round prior. And again, we're seeing a repeat of round 2, Connie, where they dabbled with A, they got the orb, and then they left, and all of a sudden now they're fighting in toward mid, or a few shots are coming away as the player has been noted in toward market.
Interesting way of taking fights as well in these team-based situations. It's like, obviously, one's close, one's far away, and it's a long-range fight. First blood goes to Moon. But if they can't find the kill, someone close enough to the player will swing by and take a close quarters fight. It's really, really clever from Guild. Still, yeah, as these players swing around, it converts into a 5v3.
Definitely the macro you want to be seeing from the side of Guild. You know, it shows that the team's pedigree. Shock dart being thrown into a backside, final kill being picked up, to be expected. But now coming into round 5, the side of the Robins, they're going to have the economy to be able to fall by here. So this is going to be the round that could make or break. Obviously, AV already starting 10-1. We've been seeing a theme of duelist players being able to frag, and Jax is also supporting that narrative today, Connie, being 5-0 themselves. Only all available within the for the side of the Robins is that Omen Into the Shadows, but the Phoenix Wall is back online again from the side of Guild, so that's probably going to be the spearhead of the entry as pings are coming in toward this B site, and there's a 4-man stack over here from the side of the attackers.
Combined as a team, Guild have 20 kills and 4 deaths. It's criminal stats. And again, an aggressive B here, but look at this again. Jugo gets the first trade from a different position, and those Zepsis get AV again off of an ultimate. They're definitely taking this site with less pressure than last time. A good adjustment thus far for Robins, as now they're starting to really push Guild away from entering. And again, kill feed dominance and overall map control is going to be in favor of them after these important clutch kills on the site and through the choke point. Really, AV's just sort of still feeling out. B has really got angles to cover as now the team slowly starts to adjust through mid. Robins are now going to start to think, what should the next team call be?
Yeah, having heard the Into the Shadows and knowing that the Omen intends to play A that round, seeing that it got stuck, they were hoping to just fall back and have that Cypher lurk in through mid, but unfortunately the timing wasn't quite there and he did get caught out. So this reposition in toward mid from the side of these two players from Guild, it really means that they're maybe trying to get info, but AV's already walked out B main and has been spotted.
Look at the aggression now. Future gets blood into Zeps. Sweet. Great news. 4v3. And the aggression from mid as well. It's a great pinch as AV was still on B despite it all. That is a wonderful take. And that was solely converted again just by refocusing the priorities of Robins. Jimbo though again swings it, but AV has the audio cue. Couldn't quite get anything from the view model. As now Spike is down, a 2v3.
Yeah, 2v3, and there's trying to be some kind of relurk in through mid here, as Yankee's going to be isolated in towards CT, but it's going to come down to whether or not the KO player from Market can get any value, whether or not AV falls in time, but as time is ticking away, pick will be picked up. It's going to come down to this timing with the smoke. Who's going to swing out first?
Well, there you have it. 5-0. Future finishes off that round. And it was just an awkward swing overall, right? Let's just talk about exactly just how Guild are getting these rounds converted. It's just different situations, yet they're treating each one like it's a constant clutch.
Yeah, and just going back to what we were talking about before we got into the game, it really shows the strategy and how much the coaching potential, assuming the Guild have had how it can impact their gameplay. They were down in numbers, Connie, but they knew, okay, it's fine. We still have like a minute 10 left on the clock. We can wait it out. We can try and draw out information, and from that, they then just re-aggressed into mid, got a great timing in both B main and Market, which resulted in the first in the kill and then the site take.
Spike hasn't even picked up yet. The one way gets AV at first blood. Now that right there is not what you want to see from Robins. Your original smoke from the default is not being treated well because the patience to at least complement that was not there. And look at this again. Spike is not even, sort of floated anywhere. Look at the feelers out from Guild. Looking through mid, looking through the cut through garden. But Robins have just retreated all the way back to spawn. Not a single player is even thinking about a site take. They're looking for audio cues and look at the swing for future.
Joke's over.
Already first to entry. Here's the ultimate. Goes paranoia, but Jax gets a kill. Culprit only tapped on the ultimate and a second on the Bucky. But still, numbers will favor Guild in a 4v2 thanks to AV's play. Now as Spike goes down, Jinwoo needs to pull off the unthinkable. As Future spots him through the crack. 6-0.
Yeah, when it gets to this part of the first half, we typically like to look at all economy. First 6 or so rounds, you want to just be using them as and when you get them. But once it gets into the latter rounds of the half, now that we're going into round 7, you really want to be saving them, using them correctly, using them at the best moment for your team. Especially since now the side of Robins are going to be able to be on a buy. There are a few orbs away from a few of their ults, but the only one they have currently is that null command. And if used on a retake in the best case scenario, it can do a lot, but there's just a quick push into B main here.
Well, Jax gets a knife off, but only a light tag. Yankee dips away, and Flash just stops everyone in Guild in their tracks. Look at the stuns, look at smokes. They don't want Guild to cross through. They only play swings. AV and Jimbo trade first, but look at it right there. 4v3, more kills tailoring to each other. Robins for the first time got the actual numbers advantage. AV though, still swinging here on the POV, gets another. A 1v3 if he wants to convert, spikes in hand. But look at the exits, they're all being covered by the likes of Robins. A drone's been thrown out to try and tag. AV is at least registered now. Ow, and he's paranoid. This is not a good spot. The flash, the heal, does everything he can to get out of harm's way, but it's just numbers and a clean cut collapse to get onto site and take care of business. Robins get the first round on the board.
Yeah, perfectly played, and just immediately off that 1-round win, we're going back to the ultimate talk, Connie. They've gotten 3 further ults online just from that 1 round. Yes, they had that null command, but now they have the Blade Storm, they have the Hunter's Fury and the Lockdown, and the Lockdown alone, if you play smartly as a Killjoy player, can just straight up win a retake, and or just force the opponent back to stall for time if used correctly. And that's going to be probably the key piece of utility, as there is a stack of players already here over toward the A site.
Yeah, and they're being bombarded with smokes and paranoias. Look at this right here. Every entry into A is cut. Jax can't even dash through and get players on the minimap because Yankee and Innovus right there, and again, are just spraying from their last remembered view model. Despite flashes, Robins are really finding comfort and have 4 ultimates as well this round. So, really a good reinvigoration into the game. But ultimately, again, Guild are not finding any variety or success in their new breakoffs.
Yeah, still a minute left on the clock though, so there's plenty of time left. I think what Guild are just trying to do here is cut noise and make them think that there's a rotate, but with the Owl Drone being used, the jig is up. Sober's close. This knife is going to be what breaks this potential push, spotting both players, noting now that they are both there, and so they know that there's been no rotate, and all the players now all just have to worry about A main, mid, and that's it, because there's not there might just be enough time for a rotate, but it's going to have to be relatively quick and probably a rush down
30 seconds left
through mid, but it's going to be spotted.
Break core. An easy kill, but not an easy maneuver. And still, Robins have got at least more information at this stage. They can play a rotation as Breakcore's getting a bit more antsy with the things he's going to face in front of him. Player there will confirm the kill. They're ready for trade. 9 seconds with spike in hand, no chance. Robins, despite delaying the round and prolonging the inevitable, there was still a bit of urgency there from Guild, which was definitely fascinating.
Yeah, I think as soon as that knife detected both players, you probably should have just decided, okay, they know that we're both here, let's just immediately try our best to shift out. Yeah, there wasn't dark cover across main, and so if you were to TP as the Omen, it would have been hard. But it probably was the better decision, because by the time you've already made that rotate, or start to at least, there's 30 seconds left on the clock, and then all of a sudden you're spotted in mid, and now you're funneled in through that mid bot, and all of a sudden there's players in CT that can just shoot you through the walls after spotting you with a jump spot.
And it's these sort of differences that will make a team more aggressive or less aggressive in the latter rounds. You know, it will add to their confidence and will add to their sort of tactile brilliance to even aggress into these sites. Looking at the spread here, Robins have got such a heavy overload onto B. Getting to A is challenging, but Guild are ready for the fights. Innovas there breaks the trades and makes it a 4v4. Now we're seeing Robins playing with 4 ultimates. A Hunter's Fury in this position is so deadly.
Yeah, a Lockdown being toyed with, it does end up getting used, which forces out the Hunter's Fury, but an aggressive push is coming in from AV. Pops that, run it back, and just runs up into heaven.
Moon with 2, clean as you like. That was wonderful from Guild. Looking at all the kills they got through Garden and even on to Heaven, really these were some difficult fights to take. Zettler's though is keeping him alive, finds 2, but the timing of the spike is not on his side. Has to isolate 2 kills, opts for the save. Very smart choice from Robins.
And I'm pretty sure AV might just die to spike here, so that will be another gun lost. I'm pretty sure that it won't matter all that much as Guild have such a hold upon their economy. But it is potentially something that might come into effect in like, so to speak, the last round of the half, one where these small little mistakes of exits comes up and up and up, and they rear their head right when you least expect it, and then the economy that you thought was perfect for a buy each and every round until the end may not even be that. But again, coming in, Robins, they need this round, Connie. They are going to be broke if they don't win this, which, yeah, is perfect because it means they can go on a save, but realistically, they need every round they can go.
We sort of tend to in the last game was the sort of tipping point for SCG. Doesn't want to be the same story for Robins. But again, I think after the last few rounds where, you know, Robins have won the trades and even, you know, got every initiative to get first blood like AV has done there, it's just Guild, again, playing the numbers. And this is the first time in a few rounds where really we're seeing them execute fast trades after first blood being drawn. Oh, little theft, that's huge. AV can beat the challenge, but Yankee can't find the kill. Look at all the players from Guild, they're swarming, they're sight. A simple trade, only one player advantage will go to the way of Guild, but looking at AV, being the sort of front force here, your line's been up front to get these kills initiated. So clean. Corrupto, wonderful kill. Great spam into hell. Spike's gone down. Recon darts available. Doable retake here for the likes of Robins.
Yeah, they just have to start by breaking the door, and that's exactly what they do. Zeps managed to find another on in toward heaven, and the retake is afoot.
Wow, clever. Breakcore Aimer finishes off there in a 1v1. Zeppelin has the read. Oh, it's antsy now. Look at this. You just got to hold shift and play around your corners. Needs to stick a defuse. Zeppelin knows time's trickling away, and it's just great juking. Look. There's only so much they can do. Zeppelin can't get a single shot off. Oh, this is genius! It's time on their side. No, it's not. Zeppelin gets the right click, but it's just not enough. 8-2. Guild just about squeaked through that round.
Yeah, that's exactly how you want to be playing around that gem position there, Connie. When you're in 1v1, you just want to buy time. You want to use as much utility as you possibly can. And then the side of Robins were aware of that. Breakcore obviously wanting, as soon as that first dart hit, saw that he wasn't on the spike, he then thought, okay, he knows I now need to immediately make it look like I am to try and draw out a push. But by the time that happened, it was already too late. Too much time had passed, and the spike couldn't be defused.
Oh, it's just going to be an incredible challenge thus far. Yankee runs through, but AV just about gets the kill. Down to 5 HP. Can't even swing it. But Breakcore Aimer there, and again, just in support, keeps the trades established. 4v3. Look at this control now. A gentle shift through middle here for Guild, right, Daniel?
Yeah, just that, and again, they're just playing the map to their advantage. They're poking, they're posturing. A duel happened in toward A main, but then they're immediately out of there having the numbers advantage. And now B site once again. It feels like we're here over and over. As much as they do go A, they like their bread and butter of B. They like their plan of, okay, let's now try and adapt it. We haven't really had a player in main before. Let's try and put that little bit of doubt into them, force another angle where they have to clear.
Look at how static Robins are playing this one. Guild are just playing the corners, but June with the headshot there starts to initiate a push. Not even really back from yet, because Breakcore Aimer has one, the second, third won't be found. Zeppelin gets a trade. 1v2, Spike is still online, has no idea of player positioning here, but has the bolt to at least get job done. Hunter's Fury won't be used, just to add clarity. Zeppelin, time ticking down, no way of seeing it through. A 9-2 for Guild. Next round, of course, is the last in this half. Daniel, the thoughts and the minds of Robins are going to be very much a mixed array.
Yeah, you definitely hope that they try and use their ultimates this round. They've been holding on to a lot of them for a lot of that first half so far. You know, there's been situations where they probably have been toying within their communications of whether or not to use them. But I just want to go back to the end of that last round. Connie, Zeppler's played it perfectly. He knew that there probably wasn't a chance to get that defuse in, and so instead he just decides to play for exits. And as much as he doesn't get the kills, he forces the side of Guild to fall. As much as it's not going to damage their economy because it's the last round and they can all still buy, it means that it's just showing that macro understanding of the gameplay from both sides.
And they've got 90 seconds to show the macro of how to convert a round. Oh, look at it right now from Guild. Same old mid presence. They love cutting through here, but now Robin's starting to understand the sort of setup to counter this. You know, players playing tight corners. Breakcore can't get any info on the drone. Look in front of Jax's POV. 3 players. And a peek there from Yankee. Only a tag. Look, Paranoia comes through. Jax gets through, gets one, and no. Only Corrupt can spot the trade and get a second online. Their push has been halted. No chance for Guild to break through. As we're evening up at a 3v3. Full site control for Guild. Spike going down. Ultimate offline now for AV.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Ultimate's being used, but it's already hectic.
No way. You're taking off the KO. AV's got so much to think about here. Keep him at bay. Throw a flash. Jim wins. Zeppelin take care of 1, 2. And look at the swing from Garden. Zeppelin can't just about get the kill, but it's time again on their side. It will make it 3-9. It will be a folklore scoreline, which will go through. Fantastic news. Zeppelin's there. Just about converts it. Despite a 1v1 there. Almost looking impossible to win.
Yeah, plenty of time left on the clock, but just looking at the stats at least, Connie, AV... First half of the game, first 12 rounds, 20-7. Definitely doing the most for their team, and as much as clutches have been left into the hands of Zepplers, and he has been able to convert a few of them, it means that when it comes now onto this attack, we're hoping that Yankee can turn on, can flip that switch in their mind, and become that burst duelist that they know they probably will be on the entries. It's just going to come down to how these two teams want to play this second half, how they decide to push, and first round being the pistol, the most important arguably. They're already starting with a 4-man stack over toward this A site.
And Robin seems to be going for the Guild strategy, and it's not wrong, is it? I mean, listen, they went 9 rounds of attack. But on defense, look at how drilled this setup is from Guild. 3 players on A, but look at the entries and exits. They've got traps on A with crossfire set up through Garden. And even on B, they've got no form of Sentinel player. They've just got the Sova and the Jet. So they're playing for fast pushes here with agents that can definitely match up the pacing.
Yeah, and I'm pretty confident, though, that that knife detected all 3 players. And so that's why the rotate has come through. They know that the Cypher is over toward A. They know that the stack is there. But that rotate should have been pretty predicted, as much as no one's budging from the side of Guild until noise does get heard. This jump spot over towards CT and these dark covers coming in will definitely be the audio cues that are required.
Yankee through smoke. Shots go down for Jax. First kill is going to be drawn, as now it's going to be 3 more in the pistol. A Guild trademark here. We saw it in the first round, just how good they are and aggressive they like to be. Really, this was such a well-coordinated attack from the beginning. I mean, listen, the trades are going to be there regardless. Only Jinwoo from the backside can play for numbers, but a double swing with AV converts to make it 10-3. And we are now in a situation, again, where if we do see the same first 3 rounds from Guild, match point is not too far away.
Yeah, I love how Guild have been playing this map so far, Connie. They've just been poking, prodding. They've been playing the map to their advantage. They've been saying, hey, we get it. You guys, we're just going to sit back, wait for you to make a mistake, and then we're immediately going to punish that mistake. And they've done that round after round after round, only losing 3 in that first half, purely down to a few coin toss not going their own way.
So impressive. Again. Round number 14 online. Guild slowly picking their sight. What the numbers are towards A. Look at the fights. And look at how aggressive the Jet here is from the likes of Guild. Information already on B. Retreats away just to draw players off the overload onto A. But such discipline as well. The same 3 players in A haven't budged from their setup. You know, the Cypher Cam will get the read through mid. And the Phoenix can swing on contact. But look at this. Guild have trapped Robins in their own half. Oh, Jax swings, can't convert, but just enough information now. That's where we're starting to see Robins really swing for the site. This is a really bold strategy, just on how much the overload and rotation coming for Guild. As the drone gets pulled away, Jax knows what's going on here. Can only swing back as far as the site. And respectfully, with the smoke going down, it's a clean entry for Robins, but Jax can't get any information through the smoke. So clever. Robins aggressive to site now with numbers. Take full control. These shock darts have got Jax down to 13 HP. Spike will go down. But look at the sheer overwhelming numbers that Guild have to push. Robins have played this so well here, Dan.
Yeah, and they have as much as this is a 5 versus 5 retake, advantage is in favor of Guild. They have the better weaponry, they have the firepower, and they're going to try and utilize it as best as they possibly can.
3 clean kills. Jinwoo only gets 1 in return. It's a wonderful swing. Evie has no idea on the models, but there we have it. Despite the advantage going the way of Robins, it was so clean from Guild. Just kills being isolated and gunfights being chained.
And giving the defuse over to AV once again. We're seeing that same strategy they did on the attack, but this time it's from the defuses. Connie, they're wanting to build up that Phoenix Wall as quick as they possibly can because they know that AV is their star player. As soon as that run it back is online, they can just immediately pop it in a retake or pop it to get aggressive for info, and then you have a new lease on life when you get sent back, if you get sent back at that, because of how much damage AV has been doing in these past 14 rounds.
And that's just going to be a sort of statement here again. We look into Guild's presence from numbers, but this is very much Robins trying to copy and paste a strategy which has paid off for Guild so long. These 5-man team hits, but unfortunately the blood there will halt them in their tracks and totally, you know, sort of combust any idea of a B now. They're going to be blended into an option of aggressing through mid, to which the setup, which we've seen for the last few rounds, Guild have employed through Gardens, prevents anything. Yankee does get a trade though. AV a bit too aggressive there on the peak. Doesn't reward anything for Guild. Now smoke goes down into Garden. A counter 1-2 on the front court. This drone's going to be huge now if Robins want to get any information tagged up. Players from Guild start to progress through. The fights go down. Trades go across the board. And we're now resulted here with Spike being dropped in Garden. A 3v1. Future just keeping his eyes on the Spike.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we've been seeing throughout this whole game. You know, as much as there was only one player in toward tree as rotates had come through, just small rotates at that in towards CT, we saw that the Sova player who was playing in tree pinged the lamp for Future to be able to throw the one-way on for tree, which then meant that if players pushed it as much as Future was smoked off, it meant then that Breakcore could be able to just swing out like he did. He got one, and as soon as that dark cover faded, it meant that Future could reposition and immediately pick up those next 2 kills in towards tree, halting any form of semblance of any attack, and just coming into what could be this last round, Connie. Breakcore has done what every Slover likes to do on Ascent with these paper walls, bought an Odin, and potentially could be spamming in toward B main here.
I mean, it's not too far from the reach of possibility. I mean, Enzo pioneered this whole Odin strategy of Sova on this particular map mode combination. But the smokes are still the same defaults at the start. Cypher traps are different though, more towards B than A, but realistically, again, it's the same 3 players, the same 3 overload. Robins have really sort of optimized their strategy here. Need to clear cameras, and AV again costed a blood in the last round despite the score going the way of Guild. Just needs to play a bit more carefully. Great Molotov though, just to slow the push down into market. And a wonderful spam for the first blood. Not really.
Yeah, that's definitely a big punish there. Another one coming in from Jinwoo, but this time for the side of the Robins. You know, it means now that the rotate is forced out. Players are now over toward this A site, but because of that pick, they hope that the site should be open.
Oh, in the 4v4, Navy's got the same ultimate again. So this push can initiate off a bomb point of contact. Future throws through Garden. Oh, big kill from Yankee. Great teleport from the Omen. As Jinwoo, not involved in the action just yet, just around the corner underneath Hell, can clear a few more Robins in a 3v2. The Jet's so weak. AV points on contact. Break Kramer as well, gets it with the shock dart. A 1v2, spike down, Corrupt swings, and Break Kramer with the Odin converts. It's simply beautiful. Guild stick the defuse, and they get another win to extend their streak to 5 here, Daniel.
Yeah, they've definitely used that winter break, Connie, to be able to further themselves, to be able to better it. Because when we saw them, when they played each other last in winter, it was a lot closer in terms of scoreboard. It was 13-6. So it's either we hope that Guild have just strengthened their roster, that they've gotten better as a team, that they can now finally play with their core. And if this is happening and if this continues, well, then they're definitely going to be a contender that probably won't be stopped by many.
Yeah, you'd have to also draw as well to you have to draw towards Robins as well, and all the other colleges as well, sort of taking time out of education just to play this tournament, and even have like these strict training schedules to adhere to where they can perform at their best. I mean, Robins got unfortunate. I mean, they are going to go now 2-5. But against Guild, it's not such a bad loss. I think they played really well in certain points, and even in the first half, we did see them, get rounds on the board through just outgunning and even playing the man advantages so well. They were in 5v3s, they were rotating sites perfectly, and they were collapsing into different flanks where it would break the sort of push that Guild are trying to impose.
Yeah, and I think Robin should still be happy with how they performed today. They faced such a tough opponent, and as much as they were trying to implement certain strategies, they weren't quite working nearly as what they probably expected to. So it might just be we need to refine it a little bit more, improve ourselves going forward, and then from there we're fine, we're sorted. We win the next few games going ahead into the competition.
Well, just to wrap today's sort of games up for you, in NCSG, 1-0 today. A win the record, and the same for Guild Gen Z. So those two teams now are extending it to 5-2, and round robin is just going to be even more exciting throughout the rest of the weeks coming up here, Daniel.
Yeah, exactly that. I believe we won't be showing much of the nationals on our streams in the coming weeks. That I think the next game is in March that we should be doing. But other than that, it means that we can follow these teams in the background over on the websites. We can see how they're performing, and then we can further better our understanding of how they're playing based on their scoreboards. Because I wasn't expecting nearly as much dominance as what I saw today from Guild.
100%. It was a whitewash for both sides. I mean, in terms of the scorelines, 13-2, 13-3, it can be demoralising to a degree, but you just have to take the positive approach, be optimistic, because at this stage, anything is possible, and you can still come back. You're in January. You've got so much time, really, to get things going. But I think if all's good right now, I will call it here. Thank you so much for watching British Esports. I've been Connie. Daniel, of course, as well, enjoying the show. And we'll see you very soon. Don't go anywhere.